The summer transfer madness in the Premier League is just around the corner. The clubs have their shortlists for future purchases already arranged, so it is time to draw the first conclusions of the past season. In this episode, we'll discuss 10 football players who did not match the expectations of the fans and failed completely. Do not forget to subscribe to Football Geeks, and let's kick off! Number 10. Shkodran Mustafi. Today most TV pundits are discussing the disastrous season ending by Manchester United and whether the Red Devils should sell the half of the squad in the summer. Against the background of immense criticism, some of you may have forgotten that Arsenal did not cope much better with their tasks for April and May. The Gunners got the most trend for the weak display of the defensive line, and Shkodran Mustafi stands out of the rest. Apart from uncertain performance, Shkodran made several ridiculous mistakes that cost lost points. In 2016, the Gunners bought Mustafi from Valencia for £35 million. Given the current form of Shkodran, returning of these investments looks almost impossible. Number 9. Ryan Sessegnon. Considering how the Cottagers finished the season, you may say that any Fulham player deserves to get into our list, but in our opinion, the failure of Ryan Sessegnon is the most bitter one, as the club fans indeed expected a bright game from the young academy graduate. Back in the summer, it was rumored that Tottenham was trying to sign Ryan, while the England national team was considering to invite the midfielder. Unfortunately, Ryan Sessegnon showed a disappointing season. It all started well at first, as the coach Slavisha Jokanovic has always included the footballer into the starting 11, but with the arrival of Claudio Ranieri, Ryan got benched. It hit hard the Englishman's form. 2 goals and 6 assists are fairly good numbers if you play for Fulham, but fans hoped for more. However, let's not criticize the player too much. Sessegnon is only 19 years old, and he has enough time to make right conclusions of this season. Number 8. Jordan Pickford. The summer of 2018 was the best period of Pickford's career. At the beginning of the 2016-2017 season, he was not even number 1 choice at struggling Sunderland, but in the last 2 years, he was defending the colors of the national team and made several goal saves during FIFA World Cup in Russia. He could join the top club, and reputable sources claimed that Pickford, together with Kepa, was in the short list of Chelsea. But this season, the keeper experienced a rapid regress, accompanied by a bunch of mistakes. He was criticized for the uncertain decision-making when coming out to collect the ball from a cross. However, in March, Jordan has returned his former confidence and is now on the way to restore his best conditions. According to the latest rumors, Manchester United are considering the transfer of Englishmen if they fail to extend the deal with David De Gea. Number 7. Mateo Kovacic. With the transfer of Jorginho, Sarri began to build a new Napoli in London quite confidently. During the successful start of the season, the Croatian Mateo Kovacic felt comfortable in rainy London as well. Back in September, Mateo hinted that he was pleased with the loan move and would be happy to sign a permanent contract. But Chelsea's rivals quickly understood how to break the attack scheme of Sarri ball. Just got air for Jorginho. At this point, Mateo Kovacic was expected to come to the fore, but he did not. As a result, Chelsea began to experience drastic problems in the center of the field, and the constant rotation with Ross Barkley once again confirmed this. Unlike most of the players from this episode, the Croatian played a fair number of matches, but all that Mateo is remembered for are inaccurate long-range shots and the unreliable game in the center of the field. In addition, by the end of the season, Ruben Loftus-Cheek has gained an impressive form. So most likely in the summer, Kovacic will have to look for a new club, as Zidane does not expect him either. Number 6. Rachid Ghezzal. Leicester struggles to maintain the style of the Champions team, and that's why they continue to hunt for the new Riyad Mahrez. Demarai Gray has not progressed if compared to the previous season, and this is unusual for the players of his age. Against these problems, it was expected that the newcomer Rachid Ghezzal will be able to show himself in all his glory. But alas, if you buy an Algerian winger from France, this does not guarantee that he will become a new Mahrez. Quite recently, Ghezzal played for the Lyon and Monaco in Champions League, and that is why the expectations of the Leicester's fans were high. But at the Foxes camp, Rashid has been remembered only by the moments wasting. Now the player is thinking over the summer departure, while Leicester will have to figure out how to pay off at least a part of the 12 million transfer of the French Algerian. Number 5. Fred. Summer of 2018, Manchester United continues to fight off the critics who blamed the winter purchase of Alexis Sanchez. Against this criticism, most of the fans calmly reacted to the transfer of Fred for impressive £53 million. Moreover, this move seemed justified to most fans. After all, Pogba had difficulties in the center of the field, while Nemanja Matic altered good matches with average ones. In addition, Manchester City, the principal rivals, had their eyes on the ex-Shakhtar's midfielder. We have long thought how fair it would be to include the Premier League debutant to our list. This is not to say that Fred has failed matches. Most likely, he was just not impressive. No spark, no desire, no wonder shots from afar. You expect all of these from a player who is bought for that kind of money. In the end, Man United acquired a footballer who is no better than the young Scott McTominay or Andreas Pereira. Number 4. Benjamin Mendy. Do not rush to criticize us for adding the long-suffering Benjamin Mendy in this episode. Yes, Mendy was injured for most of the season, but before the knee surgery, he performed quite well, starting in 10 of the first 12 matches of the season while giving 5 assists. Still, what should a professional footballer do during rehabilitation? As a rule, everything possible to return to the first team. And what did Mendy do during the most crucial part of Man City's season? He was hanging out at the nightclub few hours before the morning training session. Obviously, Benjamin is a world-class football player, but a frivolous attitude towards his recovery impedes his development. This is the main reason why Mendy deserves this 4th place on the list. He's only 24, and there is still a good chance to come back. Luckily, City can still afford to keep high-paying players on the bench. Number 3. Kennedy. In the winter of 2018, Kennedy was loaned to Newcastle United for the rest of the season and turned out to be one of the main rescuers of the Magpies. His 4 goals in 13 games added important points to the club's piggy bank, but most importantly, Kennedy's creativity breathed life into the entire attacking line. Rafael Benitez was pleased with the performance of the Brazilian, and Newcastle, to the last drop, tried to persuade Chelsea to sell the player. But Lanterners agreed only on another loan deal, and now the Blues may regret their decision. Kennedy showed a drastically poor start of the season. In the match against Cardiff, the Brazilian managed not to give a single pass for the entire first half. This has actually not happened in the Premier League since 2010. Towards the end of November, Kennedy has completely dropped out of the starting lineup. In the new year, the midfielder started only 3 matches for Newcastle. Total regress and the deserved 3rd place. Number 2. Mesut Ozil. On this one, we reach the player whose reputation in England cannot be saved at all. Mesut Ozil has been regularly criticized in the recent years. The German midfielder does not show the level of football that is expected of him, especially if you take into account the huge salary under the contract signed in early 2018. With the arrival of Unai Emery at Arsenal, Ozil has been deprived of his former immunity. The Spanish coach quickly showed the team that there is no authority for him. And this season, Mesut started only 19 Premier League matches. The German does have occasional bursts, and he can give a really bright performance. But this happens quite rarely. In big matches, when a team needs a leader on the pitch, Mesut prefers to fade away. Such trends were observed even under Arsène Wenger. Therefore, from our side, it would be foolish to blame Emery that he could not revive the German star. The Gunners must sell Ozil in the summer. Leaving him in the club will be a mistake. Number 1. Alexis Sanchez. Manchester United was subjected to terrible criticism for the transfer of the Chilean in the winter of 2018. Sanchez made a very weak debut, which only provided the skeptics with more reasons to gloat. Mourinho and the company waited for the summer to give the critics some rest. But in the new season, Alexis did not cope with the pressure as well. Even the arrival of Solskjaer in no way affected the mood of Sanchez. Having several chances in the winter, he gradually fell out of the starting lineup. For the second time this season, with two radically different coaches, Alexis Sanchez got dropped. 19 appearances in the Premier League with 1 goal and 3 assists. Man United must sell the Chilean as soon as possible. What do you think about our top 10 list of the biggest flops of the season? Were we too strict to some young players? Have we missed someone? Football geeks will be happy to see your thoughts in the comment section. Meanwhile, do not forget to subscribe to our channel, as we still have a lot of things to wrap up in the upcoming episodes.